pas de soleil, pas de soleil, pas de soleil.
Depression. Okay. Depression is a big thing. It's a big thing out there. It is real. It's like pretty high. A lot of people have it. I never knew that a lot of my friends actually have depression. And it's not like a 1 day, 2 thing, like, oh, I'm depressed. My Tesla stock went down. I'm not doing great. No. We're talking like a month, 2 months, 3 months. Oh my God, that is insane for me. But I understand that people go through it. It is hard. It has to do with your brain chemistry. I get that depression is not fun. No one has fun doing it or going through it. However, you do learn a lot. So let's get into it. How do you date a guy or a girl who has depression? Should you even do it? Would you do it? Did I do it? Let's get to it. We all can have depression at one point in our lives. It's not something to take lightly. It's actually really important to not underemphasize it at all. It is a big deal without it being a big deal. I have done it. I have dated guys who have gone through depression. My girlfriends have, and it is so hard. You have to be patient. You have to be so patient because the other person is going through ups and downs, all in their mind, and you just have to literally be the adult and be patient. You have to love them. You have to love them through whatever they're going through. You have to be there. You have to support them. And the biggest thing, and this is what I really suck at, you have to be so forgiving. You have to be forgiving because that person is not going through like a time in their life where they're in their right mind. You have to be patient. I suck at it. I fail at it now. Back in the day, I used to be much better at it. And that is ultimately why at this point, I do not want to date anyone or be with anyone who has depression. In fact, if you have it, I think it's best that we're not together. Not because I don't love you or I don't care about you, but because I have gone through it so many times with people I've dated. I have seen it, I have experienced it, and I can't anymore at this point. I don't have the energy. That is the main thing for you to think about. If your partner or if you're about to date someone who has depression, these are the things that you need to consider and think about. Number 1, it can fail. The relationship can fail. You can put in so much into that relationship. You can try to help that person all that you want. You can help bring them up. You can raise them to the sky and give them to Zeus. But the relationship can ultimately fail. That person is not who they are 100%. While they're with you, they can change. They actually might not get better to the point that they want to as quickly as they want to. And that can lead them to them wanting space and wanting to let you go on your merry way and not have to deal with them. And that could lead to ultimately a breakup. I have seen that happen and it's really sad for everyone. It's a very messy situation and you can love someone all you want, but you can't help someone 100%. You have to wait and you have to let everyone or the person you love go through the journey that they're going to go through. You can't be there to take them through the journey and guide them. It's like a child. At some point, you have to let them go. You have to let them go to school and learn on their own. Number 2, you have to be willing to go through it as well. And that's why I don't want to be with anyone who has depression. I don't think I can mentally handle it anymore. It is a lot. And this all really depends on your partner, how much they need, how much support they need, what they're going through, what their patterns are. For me though, I'm just not willing to go through it. It was really hard on me. It emotionally drains me. Maybe I like to give too much to my partners, but I can't go through it. But you have to be willing to kind of go through it with them as well. You have to be supportive. You have to be the adult. And you have to be willing to be there. Number 3, it won't always be fun. There are ups and downs to any relationship. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. But in a relationship, when the other person's going through depression, the downs may be longer than you would like. They may not be the best downs and they may last quite a long time. So it's really up to you at that point to think, is this what you want? Are you willing to go through the ups and downs of depression? Just like if you're willing to date someone who's autistic or Asperger's or anything, there are going to be ups and downs and you can't control it and you can't get angry. You have to be okay with it and you have to be okay with going through the process of them learning how to deal with it and of them learning of what they're going to do and of really just being patient. So if you're willing to go with someone who has depression, if you want to date someone, you have to be willing to be patient and go on that roller coaster and know it's not always going to be fun. Number 4, it may not be right for you. Depression is not something that you can rush. It's not something that you can make go away in a day. It's not something that you can fully medicate. It requires time. Some people, their depression lapses may be shorter. Some people, it may be longer. And you ultimately have to go through that with them. It may not be the right thing for you. If you're going through if your job requires you to work 80 hours a week, 50 hours a week, and you are barely keeping it together, being with someone who has depression might be a big toll on you. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying everyone who has depression is not good. I'm not saying it's impossible. What I am saying though is that it does require effort. And if it does not require effort on you to actually do something, it can require effort on you being okay of like not having that person with you on important dates, not having them be present when you need it. It was my birthday one time and my boyfriend and me at that time were walking and he told me he had depression later. But I remember at that time, he was so miserable. Nothing I did could make him smile. Nothing I did made him happy. And it ultimately drove me insane. In the end, I told him like, why are we here? Why are we on vacation? Why are we here if you're just going to be goddamn miserable the whole time? Turned out he had depression. He was just starting his medication. He couldn't help it. He couldn't control it. I felt bad, but ultimately, like, I couldn't even put up with that because that was the one time of the year that I had time to do something for myself, have fun, and there he was depressed and sad. I love the guy. I really care for him, but at that point, I wasn't mature enough to be able to deal with it. Maturity is such an important thing when you're dealing with depression, and that is number 5. Depression requires maturity. You have to be patient. You have to be mature. You have to handle it. If you can't do that, then I don't know what to say. I'm not advising anything here, but that is ultimately what comes with the package. I personally could not do it. I have done it when I was younger. I tried to be very, very understanding, and I tried to love people for who they are and who they want to be, because that is ultimately what is important. We all deserve to be loved for who we are, but sometimes if someone is going through a journey, you might not be the right person to go through that journey with them. You may not be ready to go through that journey. You may not be mature enough to go through that journey. And don't allow yourself to go into something and support someone when you don't have enough even to give. It's really important to be logical, to think about it through, ask your friends, ask your family, is this something that you can go through? Is this something that you have the mental capacity to support? Because if you don't, you actually might hurt that individual more than help them. It might put them down, it might upset them, and it might result in you two fighting and having ultimately a really bad relationship. I ended mine because I knew that I couldn't handle it. I couldn't go through it. And I'm really, really happy because when I made that decision, it helped me not have to deal with it anymore, and it helped him just be able to handle it on his own, go through the ups and downs. He left the country for a while, but okay, he came back. I don't know. And, ultimately he found someone else who is much happier, and voila, guess what? She was a psychology major. So good for him. She's so much more supportive than I am. She's a career counselor even, I think. And that is something that she can give him that I really can't. And I am so, so happy for him. If you are not the person who can handle it, if you're not what I describe, patient, loving, caring, super patient, did I mention patient? And willing to go on a roller coaster of up and down, and you are willing to go through it with him, support him, and go through his learning lessons with him, and be, once again, very patient, then think twice before dating someone who has depression, because you can hurt them more than help them. And if you have depression and you're trying to work on your relationship, Same goes for to you too. If you find your partner can't support you, if you're having a hard time, if you feel like you need time to yourself, it's really important to take these things into consideration and maybe come back to the relationship once you two have grown, or once you feel better, or once the medications have gone through, because it's really hard to distinguish the person and the person who is on medication and going through symptoms of it, or you who used to jump on me and you who is now on X medication and doesn't want to even touch me. It's really hard. Depression is not an easy thing to deal with. It is not a bad thing. It is okay. We all go through it. But if you're just starting out a relationship, and if you're starting out on it with depression, that is something to consider. And maybe you want to revisit it. And if it's meant to be, revisit it at a later time. And you're both more ready to jump into it, to give it your all, and to be the best human beings that you can be. And maybe you can support each other as friends rather than couples, which might make it easier for both of you in terms of what you consider to be your obligations, or what you need to do. Or, it's Valentine's Day, I need to do X, Y, and Z. Not having that on you, not having expectations on you may be better, especially when you're going through a patch like this, like depression, in the earlier stages of your relationship. Let me know what you think. I always love to hear your feedback. As always, this is Savannah.